Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the 49th episode of Improving Chess with Sagar Shah and the comedians who are sleeping, and also some of the guests that we have on the show. Um, 49 shows, yeah, we are just one away from 50. And I got a very nice suggestion yesterday that on the 50th show, you should bring all the three people who are there in the thumbnail. So I'm going to message Biswa, Samay, and Vaibhav to make it to wake up at all costs for tomorrow, because what began as an idea. What was the date? I have to check. Let me share my screen with all of you guys. So this began in, I don't know, if I go here and check out Improving Chess with the Comedians, the first episode, 3 golden rules, it started off with. It began on 19th May 2020 and today is 14th July 2020, so that's close to 55 days, and in 55 days we have had 50 episodes close. So that's good consistency, and you can look at me here. You can look at me.
The one and only, the legend, the man himself, Sagar Shah.
You can look at me here completely clean shaven, and now you can look at me with the beard. I think we should later on make a compilation video of these 50 sessions. They were amazing, from, of course, it started off with Samay. I think at some point Biswa joined in, then Tanmay also came once on the show, Vaibhav, Samay, and then for many days it was just me, Samay, Vaibhav, Biswa, all working together, and then at some point guests started coming in. Like, for example, we had RB Ramesh here on 38th show, Eric Rosen on 41st show, Stani came in, Magesh Chandran, and now Cemil was here for a couple of shows, and maybe he'll be joining us today as well. But first of all, let me just welcome all of you in the chat, um, all the viewers here. A warm welcome to all of you. Let me check. Oops. Yeah. Okay, and so I will make sure that tomorrow we have very good number of people, good comedians joining in. Of course, 50th session, we have to celebrate it. Um, but today, what we are going to do is wait, first of all, for the comedians to join in. Of course, we will invite Cemil, because yesterday he had mentioned that he will show us one small position, one way of calculation, one special way of calculation. So I'm very keen to learn from him what it is about. But before that, let's play a game. Let's play a game in the room comedians, that is there in the link below. So we should play a game of chess, and let's enter Playchess, and you can just click on the link. You don't need to come like me from the software. If you do, it's more stable, of course. And so the comedians room here, let's play with SN. Last time SN had said it was him that I had missed, so today we're going to play with him. Knight f3. Let's begin with knight f3. Positional chess. Okay, c5. Let's play c4. This is the symmetrical English. Knight c6. I would like to go There are two ways, g3 and d4. I'll play g3 today. G3 is more positional in style. E5. Okay, that is an interesting move. Knight goes to c3. This e5 often weakens the d5 square, but in a way it's fine. You just put your knight on e7, g6, bg7. I like to play this as black as well, very much. One of my favorite systems. d6. Okay, bishop g2. So if you look at it, I have developed 3 of my pieces, and black must also quickly develop, because knight f6 is a good move. Castles. And of course e4 would be a mistake, because I'll just jump to g5. And now the question is, should I go for e3 d4, or should I go for d3 and play positionally? I think I'll just play positional chess. No, e3 d4 looks more in the spirit, because then I'm breaking this structure. Okay, I like to go d3. Play solid chess, solid. And usually in such positions, a very common maneuver is knight e1, knight c2, knight e3, looking at the d5 square. So that is very common. I think I can do that straight away. Maybe he can go bishop e6 with the idea of d5. It'll be interesting to see what he comes up with. Bishop f5. Okay, this move doesn't make too much sense, because now when I go knight e3, it will hit the bishop, on f5. So knight d4. Okay, that's interesting. How about going to e3 first, then going to d5, and then kicking this knight away with e3. Aditya Mathur says, I got 96.2% in my 12th board exam. Shout out from you. Congratulations, Aditya. What a great result. 96.2. It's brilliant. Okay. Well, should I pick up this pawn? It's a free pawn, yeah. Someone is applauding continuously, so usually applause are okay, but sometimes it does get on your nerve. Bishop goes back, and now okay, I'm a pawn up. I would like to play my knight to d5. I should time it appropriately. Queen d7. Okay, now I really want to play e3 at some point. So let's go knight d5. I'm a little bit worried that later on he will pop out his bishop from h5, and so my question is, with what to take here? That is the question. I would really like to take with the knight, but then bishop h5 attacks the e2 pawn. Can anyway go f3 and e3. It looks ugly, but should be okay. Let's try. Keith Mascarenas, 49. Amazing work. Also do check your Discord messages. Sure, Keith. I will have a look at it today. And thank you for being there right from the very beginning. There was a point when all our sessions would begin with Keith sending in a super chat even before we had begun, and sometimes when I would be feeling, should we do a session today or not, should we do it, and then Keith's super chat would come, and I'm like, oh, people are waiting, people are also paying a super chat, and I should go online very quickly. And that inspired me, motivated me to do things. So little things can make a huge impact, that is for sure. Okay, e3 does weaken the d3 pawn to some extent, but the knight was anyway very irritating on that square, and I had to get rid of it, so I'm doing so. Next, I must think about this bishop. What should I do with it? Should I go b3, bishop b2? Yeah, knight g5 is now a possible idea from him. Or should I go a little bit more aggressive here? I think my position is good enough that it warrants aggressive measures like f4. I have this solid knight here, and f4 stops knight g5. Also, I can take now with this pawn threatening f5. So, seems okay. Looks risky for sure, but it's not so bad. Well, it's true that knight c7 would be very good now, because knight c7 kind of pushes this knight in the center away. Let's see. Bishop h4, but there is no threat as such with that move. I feel like f5 winning a piece now. f5, bishop f5, rook f5. I don't know. I don't see how you're going to wriggle out of this mess. Knight g5, f g6, knight h3 check, king h1. What else? I don't see any way. So I play f5. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't think so. Shubham Shah. Good morning, Sagar sir. Kem cho? Shubham, majama ekdam. Thank you for the Gujarati element on the stream always. Enjoy it. Thank you. બહુ સારું લાગ્યું. અને આજે 49th. How do you call that in Gujarati? I don't know. 49th. I always, whenever I was taught Gujarati, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I would go on till 20, and then from 21 I would start saying 21, 22, 23. So okay, knight goes to c7. I guess I can go queen g4 here. And there's no real way in which he can take advantage, because I always have rook f4 to defend my queen. Also attacks his bishop. And if he goes knight d5, then I can take it with the bishop and put more pressure on this f6 square. Sorry, f7 square. I think bishop f6 makes sense now to go back. Yeah, g6 was, I think here rook f7, queen g4. Oh, it's a check, so I have to be careful there. Yeah, let's go back rook f4. Thing keeps under control. Okay, that was time. That was an interesting game. Snehil, if I'm not mistaken, the name SN199. Let's analyze this game. Let's analyze and let's try to learn from it. Priyam Trivedi says, Badai Mara dialogue lai lida. Well, Priyam, you see, every good thing inspires other people. So you started it with the Gujarati super chats, and then many more people took it up. Mona Lisa Chaudhary, wow, just a step away, Sagar. Thanks for all these sessions. Yes, just a step away from 50. And Mona Lisa, thank you always for being there and also for commenting on the videos, for sending in super chats and learning from the show. So knight f3, c5, c4. Knight c6, g3. And you know, this is the English opening. You can also start off with c4 like Samay does. Knight f3. Mayur Gondalekar, 87 sessions from imbalances 13 to 100. Arigatu. 87 sessions from imbalances. Yeah, you mean, you know, I had 22 sessions of learning imbalances at the start, then 15 endgame sessions. So that is 22 plus 15, 37. And now 49 here. But also not to forget my opening series, which I think has 21 sessions. So overall, in this lockdown, I have surpassed 100 sessions with ease. I have to make an article on that on ChessBase India as to how many sessions we have done. But yeah, there is a lot of instructive content on ChessBase India. So don't miss it out. Knight f3, knight c5, c4, knight c6, g3, e5, knight c3, d6, bishop g2, knight f6. And you know, my general understanding of this position is that when you put your pawns like this, your bishop is going to be passive here. So why don't you play g6, bishop g7 and knight e7? This is known as the Botwinic setup. It's like a triangular Botwinic setup. And although this square is weak, your knight is going to control it. You're going to play g6, bg7 castle. And you will then get your bishop out to say e6, g4, wherever possible, and connect your rook. So it's like for a weakness, you are getting free-flowing development. But the way Snehil played, I was not very impressed. Like castles, bishop e7. Of course, here e4 doesn't work ever because of knight g5. And now there are suddenly 3 attacks on the pawn with only 1 defense. So you lose the pawn. So he goes bishop e7. And now I had an option. You know, I was thinking, should I go e3 here? With the idea of playing d4. But instead of that, I went d3. By the way, Chaitanya Singh says, nice t-shirt, Sagar. Chaitanya, this is Kishore Hazarika's copyright, yeah? But Chaitanya, thanks for that simple shirt. Okay, so d3, castles was played. Well, I was worried a little bit about this. e3, if he goes something like bishop to g4, and I felt like e4 might start becoming a threat. Although I can always play queen c2 and get my queen out from there, I decided to play it a little bit solid with d3, castles, knight e1. And now this is a very common maneuver. d5 square is a weakness, so you don't want to put your knight. Remember, whenever a square is weak, you don't want to immediately jump into it, and when your opponent takes it, you don't want to be covering it up with a pawn. You know, this pawn weak kind of, now the weakness is gone. How do we put it? Like, let's say a weakness is like a hole, and if you take a big rock and you put it inside the hole, the weakness is gone. Similarly, this pawn is like a rock. You need a piece on a weakness always. So this square, you need a piece, and therefore I go knight e1, although an elaborate maneuver which will take 3 moves, but still I think the position cannot be opened up quickly. So now I'm going to ask all of you guys, because I'm doing this entire plan, what should black do against it? If you were black here, how would you face it? Abhinav Bharadwaj, Sagar sir, I'm good at openings, but in the middle game I create chaos. Please help me. Abhinav, please check out improving the middle game series. Improving chess series, not this one, but the 22 episodes, and then you come to this one as well. I think it will be very useful for you from middle game point of view. I talk about imbalances, and that would be very nice. So black to move here, black should take into consideration what white's plan is and try to think of some way in which he can take advantage of that. Yes, very good. I think Sujata Muthukumar, I like your move. Bishop to e6. And I was thinking that black should go here. Yeah, bishop e6, Sumedh, absolutely right. With the idea of d5. So if I go knight c2, he goes d5, takes, and already this position now is, I think, pretty good for black, because this is like a Maroczy bind reversed. White has pawns on e4, c4. Here black has e5, c5 pawns, has space, has everything in the position. But I think I would have stopped d5 here with knight to d5. I wouldn't have allowed it. And now taking the knight is impossible because it forks two pieces, and if you take with the bishop, it's a small victory. Although the weakness is gone, I've got a bishop instead of a knight. So these are the little subtle positional things that keep going on in such positions in the English. I think what black can do after knight d5 is just perhaps play queen d7 with the idea of maybe bishop h3. It's a possibility. But bishop f5 is a move that I did not like. I think here knight c2 and then knight e3 comes with a tempo unnecessarily, and it just helps my plan. And here at least, I think at the very least, queen d7 would have been nice, because then knight e3, bishop h3 is a possible move. I was actually, many times grandmasters make a move like rook e1 here. And we are always wondering why. What is the point? It's not an open file. You just put your rook over here. Why do they do that? The point is that if you go bishop h3, now the rook is no longer controlling f1. So you just drop it back to h1. And yeah, it frees up this entire diagonal. So this is sometimes the plan behind rook e1. I went queen d7 would have been, I guess, a better move, but knight d4, I attacked back, and yeah, I took a pawn. So actually knight d4 is a mistake, because it just drops a pawn. You drop a pawn, and then after rook b8 I just jump back. I feel like white has a decent position. He's also a pawn up, so white should be clearly better. Queen d7, I went knight d5, he took, I took with the knight, and now rook e8. And here maybe I can play solid chess, but e3 just feels right, pushing the knight away. And now actually I think important moment in the game. So I'm a pawn up, I have a good position, but black has some ideas with knight g5, but not a big threat actually, because I can always go f4 and knight h3. I can just move my king to h1. There are no checks in the position. So maybe, if it was a classical game, I may have gone for b3 here, with the idea of playing bishop to b2 and finishing off my development. But here I was a little bit more aggressive and I played f4. And when I played it, I did realize that it's a risky move, because ef, gf, now suddenly you have this as a weakness, this as a weak pawn. They are not very weak, but they are always like, this is being attacked here once, defended once, so could come under pressure. Also, this pawn could start becoming at some point weak. So therefore, I felt like white should have gone, black should have played knight c7 here, getting rid of this knight. But maybe it's a bad move. Yeah, it's a bad move, because after take and f5, I trap this bishop. So even that would not have worked. Maybe he has to move the knight away to d8, but then the knight is not on a good square, and I can very well think of playing e4 here with the idea of f5. I think white is dominating here, in this position. So he went bishop h4. I did not particularly like this move because it just helped me to win a piece. It's true that there can be some dangerous discovered attack if the knight moves, but where? That's always the question. One thing which I want you guys to remember, and this is true for life as well, if something you feel fearful of that, then check the facts. So for example, if you are afraid of ghosts, try to figure out if there are ghosts in the world actually. And when you do fact checking, when you actually read up articles, and when you realize that there are actually no ghosts in the world, let's not get into that philosophical debate. Let's for now assume there are no ghosts. Then your fear slowly starts to go away. Same way, rook f5, there can be a lot of ghosts in your head running that, oh, the knight will jump somewhere and attack the rook. But you must do the fact checking. Where can the knight go? Knight c7, knight d4, knight f4, knight g5, knight f8. These are and knight d8. These are the 7 squares it can go to. And wherever it goes, is there something that drastic happening to my position? Like knight d4 looks like the most scary move. But okay, you just say I can move back my rook at the very least, and I'm completely fine. So in this way, you get rid of your fear of anything. So knight c7, queen g4. I think this was an aggressive move. I tried to come forward, and my threat is to take the knight and pick up the bishop. He played knight takes d5, and here I was thinking, should I do something? Okay, I took bishop takes, g6, and yeah, there was a possibility to take here bishop into f7, but I did not do that. I think king g7, maybe this works, but yeah, like bishop e8 already seems good. Yeah, queen f5, gf5, and bishop c6, and yeah, I have exchanged more stuff and should be better. Okay, I was a piece up. I played rook f4, and yeah, here he ran out of time. But you can see it was an interesting game with a lot of moments to learn from. Okay, I see ghost is trending in the chat, but you get my point. Many times people say in chess, like, I saw a ghost in the position and I calculated those lines. When I was calculating, I saw a ghost, and you need to get rid of those ghosts in your head. And I think it's a way of living as well. Chess often reflects what you do in life. If you start getting scared of unusual threats, it's quite possible it happens to you even off the board. So if you start employing certain techniques in your life, it can also help you on the board. Not always, because I know this for a fact that Mikhail Tal was a very mild man, very calm, very nice person, but when it came to the chessboard, he was a monster. So okay, Snehil says, thank you for the game, sir. I have to work more on black openings. I hope we play another game next week or the week after that. Love you. Well, Snehil, yes, on the openings definitely, but also on the fact that try to look at what's happening in the position. Like here, instead of bishop f5, I think putting bishop here would have been good. Sometimes it's logical. You don't need to learn it. Just play with the logic. Knight e1, what is my opponent's idea? He wants to come here and attack. So why to put the bishop here? That's the point. Okay, guys, before we invite Cemil onto the show, who will teach us something about calculation, I am going to first ask you later today to check out this video which I recorded yesterday with Nihal Sareen. This is the latest video of ChessBase India. This is the one.
Why are people snagging this $89 portable AC?
And
I
Nihal
recently
is
discovered
one of India's biggest talents. I don't need to introduce him here, but just so that everyone knows, he's turned 16 years old yesterday. He is 26-20, and the first time I saw him, as I put here, was 6 years ago when he was just 10. Look at this cute little face. Let me maximize it. What a cute face. And he was there, and I was what, it was 6 years ago, 24 years old. And then this famous journalist Manisha Mohite came and said, she has covered, by the way, a lot of matches of Vishy Anand and all the top players of India, and she said, I see a talent in Nihal which I'm sure he's going to become a great chess player. And she took a photo with him, and Nihal was just 2000 rated at that point. He was just 2000, and within 6 years he gained 600 elo points. And Manisha's photo is going to become more and more valuable as Nihal's rating keeps going up. And I remember this video. This was my first actually video which I captured. This was back then when ChessBase India hadn't begun. I was covering it for chessbase.com, and at that point, this is a wonderful video that I guess Nihal would play a move, press the clock, like he would press it and then he would move around, and look at the number of people playing there. Chess. See, and the crowd had gathered, and now all Nihal is this, everywhere, and was watching this young boy whom we call the boy who never sits. This is how we used to call Nihal. And then I changed it to the boy who never stops, because his rating just kept on growing. And so Nihal's birthday was yesterday, and when I asked him, Nihal, would you like to solve 16 positions on your birthday? A normal kid would say, I have a birthday party. Okay, with the lockdown, friends won't come over, but a Zoom birthday party, or we are having cake, or my family is here. But Nihal was like, what? Chess positions? I have to solve them. Okay, bring them on. And then we began. I put on a timer as well next to me, and then first position, second position. So my suggestion to you is, take out some time from your schedule, and whatever positions Nihal is solving, try to solve them and see how you compare with one of the greatest talents in the world of chess. Of course, it's quite possible you won't be able to do it at the level of Nihal, but you can understand where you have to aim, where do you have to reach, and then you start working. And so I think this video is really a very nice one. Watch it, and you will learn a lot from it. Okay, so yeah, very cute in this video. He is just 16 now, but already so matured. And he said, I feel a little bit old. I asked him why. He's like, you see, Ronak is 13, 14, Prag is 15. I'm the eldest one, 16. By the way, guys, from Prag, I want to tell you, today on stream in the evening, we have none other than Pragnananda. And you know what we are going to do today? There are two videos on the internet which are the most famous, the most popular videos in the history of chess. Yeah, I'm not joking. They are the most popular ones in the history of chess. So if you go to ChessBase India and you sort by most popular, you will see the first two videos both have 30 million views. First one is Pragnananda Ganguly, second is Vishy Anand Pragnananda. And there's no video online which is more popular than these two. And both of them feature the young Prag. And so we are going to invite Prag, and we are going to analyze these two games where he played against Anand and Ganguly. And we are going to see the video, also his analysis. And this is going to happen today evening, I think roughly around 5 p.m. And I'm very excited because Prag is one of my favorite youngsters in the world of chess, and he'll be here today. So would be fantastic. Arya Shah says, I was not able to solve half of those tactics, but I felt nice solving a few of them. Yes, Arya, this is the point. You see Nihal, you get inspired. You also learn a few things. And also Nihal told me yesterday was his birthday, but he learned something new and he was so happy with that. So, learning is actually an attitude more than anything else. If you want to learn, you can learn from anything. You can learn from my streams, from Samay streams, from Vidit streams, from Ganguly streams. Eh, what was that dialogue on Three Idiots? I love it, which is like, I think we should call Cemil, because he's a big Three Idiots fan. Cemil, if you are hearing this, if you can join in to the Zoom chat, would be wonderful. The dialogue in Three Idiots was ज्ञान या something, ज्ञान चारों ओर बह रहा है. All you need is a uniform. You know, when Amir Khan was saying, you just need to enter the room and sit. Knowledge is flowing everywhere. So grab it, you know. That's the thing. Okay. So, joining in 5. Wonderful. Vaibhav is here. Have I missed Vaibhav for a long time? Man. Vaibhav is already here. Sorry, Vaibhav. Oh. Hello, Vaibhav. Hello, Vaibhav. Can you hear me? Vaibhav has frozen up.
Hello.
I don't know.
Yeah, now I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome, Vaibhav.
Hi. Good morning, Sagar.
Sorry, I just missed that you were in the chat since a long time. I mean, you had messaged me since last 15 minutes, but
No, I always message joining in 5 minutes and then join in 15 minutes. I feel very embarrassed about that.
Okay, good. So you didn't have to wait too long. That's nice to know.
Oh, Cemil is here.
Cemil, welcome. You know, what was that Three Idiots dialogue which I was saying? Knowledge is everywhere. You only need a uniform. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I was expecting you will also say it in Hindi, but that was too much.
No, I don't. I mostly watched it with subtitles, but I feel like if you put like a blindfold to me and just make me listen, I can say what scene it is.
Okay.
I feel like I'm at that moment because I watched it more than 10 times, so I overdid it a bit. What to do?
Yeah. Okay, so 2 things today, Vaibhav. One is we are going to solve one position that I found on from a very interesting source, and then Cemil, in the last half an hour, you can, or maybe using that position, you can teach us that little trick that you have for calculation.
I think it applies for everything. So since the viewers will be watching the Nihal video afterwards, I think they can apply it for even that.
Okay, fantastic.
So they can apply it for everything, I think.
Okay. Digant Patil says, hi Sagar, what's the method to improve long calculations? Digant, first of all, Improving Chess episode 48 of Vaibhav trying to solve Tal positions was very useful. I think it was a long calculation there. Secondly, I think today's session will also be helpful to you. So let me share my screen so that guys, now they will become a little smaller on the screen. But now we are going to look at a chess position. So, by the way, Vaibhav, how was it playing Robert Hess yesterday?
It was so much fun. Yeah, he's quite funny. He's very talkative, and he had only 1 minute. We kind of tricked him 2 times into speaking to us, not making a move. So like he took like around 6 seconds to make a move at one point.
but I think you guys were very close to beating him, but at the end, in the last 0.0 second or something, he checkmated you guys.
Yeah, he won it like 0.0 seconds, 0.6 seconds. Yeah. Damn fun.
Yeah, I think he is one of the top players of US. His rating is close to 2600, and it was very good. Nice to see him playing with you guys. Also, I remember a very well-known game. I think Hess had drawn with Vishy Anand in one of the Bundesliga games without any difficulties. You know, very easily he had drawn that game, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a very strong player.
I think he played the French actually that game, and he hates the French defense.
Yes, and he was winning, right? At some point, he was even better, and then Vishy somehow wriggled out of it. Okay, so this position, now I'm going to give you the background. Many people use, say, Facebook and social media is not very ideal. But I believe on social media you can find a lot of good chess material, because a lot of strong players are on social media. And this one is shared by Priyadarshan Kanappan, who is a grandmaster from India, and also Cemil would know him because he also studied in the US. Uh, I think in St. Louis itself.
Yeah, he studied in the city St. Louis. He went to Webster
Ah,
University,
Webster. Okay.
different school, but we have played in a tournament. We have spoken a lot. So yeah, I know him in person.
So you know him
Very
well.
well.
And he's written on his post, I was playing bullet on chess.com and got this position. White has a huge advantage. So the question is to find variations and spot an aesthetically beautiful win. So white is better here, but the job is to find a aesthetically beautiful idea to win. And I was trying to solve it in the morning after waking up, and I had to prepare for the stream. So I said, instead of trying to solve it right now, I will do it on the stream with Vaibhav now and Cemil. So let's try to think here, and then afterwards we can understand from Cemil also what is, I don't know what the right move is. So we'll do it together.
So should I guess? Like,
Yeah, you can begin thinking. You can think about the general technique, and then even Cemil is thinking. I don't know if he's already got it or he's still thinking here. And then we can
Yeah,
all
I think I
discuss.
do.
We can all discuss.
But
Aditya Somani, I feel Vaibhav has improved a lot in his calculations, but I am wondering how soon does improvement reflect in ratings? Vaibhav is still in 1100. Shouldn't he be higher? I think, I don't know how Vaibhav plays his games online, but if he plays it with more focus, perhaps it's easier. I don't know, Vaibhav, if you stop everything else, like you are in a zone and playing online, or it's more like someone talking to you is okay, or you have some messages or calls coming, and you reply or something like that.
no, I mean, I don't play distracted. I do play when no one's around. Like usually, I'm to myself.
Okay.
But I do think my rating might have improved. Actually, it might not be higher. matlab, It's not 300 increment. It might have been 50 only, which is very legible. It's been what 30 days that I've been 30 40 days that I've been doing this,
Yeah.
which is not bad for I think 30 days. If I increase by 50 also,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I do play better now. I do feel so.
Cool.
Here I feel pushing h6,
Okay. Interesting.
and now obviously the threat is mate on g7. So uh, his only option is to push e5.
Very good. I so like this. Vaibhav earlier would be like h6 and he would wait. And he will be like, okay, tell me the move now. H6, I have made my move. You have to reply. And now he's like, oh, there's a mate here, but black has to defend. So he himself says e5. Very good. Go on.
e5, and then oh, did I? No, I'm not sure if it works. Okay, I'll have to think more. Sorry.
Yeah,
Wait.
no problem.
Yeah.
And you have to keep in mind that at
Okay.
some point your rook on c1 is also hanging because it's twice attacked. I don't know if it's relevant, but maybe.
So.
did he post this on his Facebook?
Yeah, on his Facebook page, not on his Facebook profile, but on his Facebook page.
Okay, so then queen h4 after that. After he goes e5, I'll go queen h4, threatening my queen to come to f5, f6.
Okay, so let me say
Trying to mate again.
h6, e5, queen h4. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm threatening to come queen f6 and mate again. So I couldn't find. I think at this point he'll have to exchange and start giving checks because I don't think he can stop the queen coming there.
Okay.
Okay, so if rook captures on C,
Yes.
if rook captures on C, then rook captures on C, then queen captures on C, and
Check.
there's a check. So king goes to H2, and I don't think there's a check. So then queen to F6, and I don't know how he can stop the mate. Am I even
You
close?
are.
I don't know.
I believe you are very close. I don't know if Jamil agrees with that or he has a different answer, but I think you are on the right track. What do you think, Jamil?
No, I think for sure he's on the right track. I am just thinking about what he said last and trying to maybe find a defense towards it, or it might be the right answer too.
Yeah,
So
that could be one, or more aesthetic could be to sacrifice both the rooks. Yeah, like and then Vaibhav was like, okay, he takes on c1, I will take back. But you could also do Vaibhav like when he takes on c1, like h6, e5, queen
Hmm.
h4, rook
Hmm.
c1, just go in with f6, now
Oh,
threatening a
oh
mate
yeah.
instead of
I don't
taking.
think right.
And then if he takes here, um, could be we have to calculate what happens to king f1, but just moving your king to h2 and now your queen, bishop and pawn may be sufficient to do
Wait.
a checkmate. I don't see a defense.
Yeah, that's true. I should have.
But look at this, Vaibhav. You are like from a position that was shared by a grandmaster on a Facebook page, saying it's an interesting one. You could you could actually get the link and the thread of it very quickly and find the right. This is brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is fun.
Jamil, your thoughts on this position? H6, do you think okay or something else?
I think it's frozen. Is
Yeah,
it?
Jamil seems to be frozen. I have to
It'll be
ask.
hilarious if he just says, "No, no, no, I'm just thinking."
Well, he's back. He's back. But I think Jamil he has to do something about his camera. You know, he's like so far off. It seems like the entire city can be seen behind. His lighting is very dark.
Almost like a Tonight Show with Jamil.
Yeah. So Jamil, H6. You agree with this?
yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, you are back. You are
Yeah,
back.
I think I agree.
So can you
Yeah.
tell us your calculations? What you thought?
Yeah, I calculated the same thing actually. H6, E5, Queen H4, Rook C1, Queen F6, Rook F1, King H2. I didn't bother King F1.
Yeah.
And here I look to Rook H1 check, maybe potential problem. But here takes is possible. Even you can go King
Even go
G3
to G3, I think there's no more checks.
But I
because
was,
after Rook
yeah,
H6,
okay.
there is Queen F7, Queen F6.
Oh,
So I don't know what he's referred to as the aesthetic solution because this is kind of giving away the critical pawn and still mating. But
Maybe the
yeah,
aesthetic point is that you give up two rooks and win the game.
probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
I was looking for some tricks from Black's side, but I thought this was sufficient.
Let's check it with the engine just to be sure that we have got everything and we are not missing something here. Um,
Hopefully, we're not missing.
So yeah, rook c8, bishop c8, h6. Why should we begin with the h6? That's what the computer always. The computer is the most pragmatic. It says, why do you want to give the rook? First take it and then play h6, and then
But I
you
think
go.
at the end, it changed its decision. It saw it after us. Because sometimes the engines are slower. If you play h6 first position,
Okay. So that's also equally strong.
Yeah.
E5, queen h4. Okay. Take on c1. Oops, sorry. Take with the rook on c1. Queen f6 and rook f1. And the point is king f1 draws to queen c1 check, king e2, queen b2 check. And now you can't go to f3 because of e4 check and you lose the queen.
damn.
So you have to come back, and then he keeps checking on this diagonal, and then you can't. So it's a draw. Yeah, that's a nice point. And so you have to play king h2 and then rook h1. And as rightly pointed out, king into h1 also wins, but king g3 is one move faster. So in a way, I'm just wondering what happens if you take here on c8 before playing h6. Take, and h6, and now e5. The point is, maybe the king can run over here, and then I go queen f6. He can play bishop e8. Yeah, but this was also possible in our main line, right? H6. Sorry, h6, e5, queen h4, rook c1, queen f6, king f8. Now it was
Queen f7 mate.
there's no way to run. So basically,
Yeah. We win like one tempo. The king doesn't run to e8,
we
f8, e8 somehow.
instead of, yeah, that's the point where black is losing this one tempo in picking up the rook. In that position, he was using that tempo to actually run with his king. Okay, got it. So nice point, and well done, Vaibhav. Very impressed with the way you solved it. Cemil, let's check out last 30 minutes. What can you show us?
Well, I don't know about showing. Maybe I can find something, of course. But in terms of method, this can be actually applied to everything.
Okay.
So I think it will help every chess player. It doesn't have to be beginner. I even used it when I was like international master trying to become GM.
Wow.
So I was
Wow.
very close
That means
to.
you're teaching me right now. Wonderful. Because I am an IM trying to become a GM.
I think it applies to everybody. So
Fantastic.
the method was.
So
today
one second. Should I take a position for you, and then you want to show it, or how should we do it? Because I have
sure,
a book.
we can try it on.
I have a book here.
Yeah, we can try it on a position.
Okay, so
And,
you can begin explaining, and I will meanwhile set up a position.
So the idea is in most chess games, like there are certain tactics and motives which make you win the game, but it's always a problem for chess players to get to this position. Like you always see it in a book and you're like, okay, but I never get this position in my life. So how will I even apply this? And I thought about this and I felt like intuition is the most important element in the game of chess. So my idea was whenever you see a position, you immediately write down the first move which you think is correct on a piece of paper. So let's say you are playing a game of blitz or bullet and you have 5 seconds to decide on your move. So you basically write down this move on a piece of paper and then you sit down and calculate. And at the end of the calculation, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, it doesn't matter, you get to a conclusion and then you finally conclude on what move it is and you check basically the correct solution and you compare if your intuition matched your conclusion and if that matched the correct move. So it's like a step-by-step motive, and at first it's like if you have 10 puzzles it doesn't mean too much, you get 5 correct, 5 wrong. But when your sample size starts growing, because I am also an engineering student, I am always involved with some math. And when you have like a sample of, let's say, 1,000 positions and you check your statistics, you can be like, oh, I can actually rely on my intuition and play more faster with more confidence. Because most players spend time thinking during a chess game because they lack this confidence. They're like, oh, let me check this, double check, triple check, 4 times check, same variation. They check it 5 times just to be sure it's correct. So this is a motif I came up with. Basically, you look at the position, 10 seconds, whatever, you write down a move. It doesn't have to be the best, but your intuitive correct move.
Okay, let's try it on this position. So what Cemil says is that take any position and come up with the first move that comes to your mind. You have 10 seconds. Vaibhav, what's the move that first comes to your mind for black? Okay, this is black to move. I
It's like
have.
rapid fire.
Sorry?
It's like rapid fire, and they ask you questions. They were asking today to Robert, as Samay was asking. It was yesterday technically,
Yeah.
and he was answering this rapid fire. Same thing. Immediately, what do you play with black?
Okay.
Queen e7 comes to mind, threatening the
Okay.
piece twice.
We put it in the box. It's like in an envelope. Now we start looking at the position.
Okay, I will tell what came to my mind first.
Yeah.
Or how is
Oh.
it? How is it? Should we focus on one player? Let's focus on Vaibhav.
We
So
can focus on one player, and we can hide ours because our intuition might be already strong enough that it might be the correct move.
correct. Yeah, okay. But I'm keen to know how one can calculate with this, because you know what Cemil says is that first move that comes to your head, you write it down, and first move that came to Vaibhav's mind was Queen e7. Vaibhav, did you see this is hanging?
Yeah, I saw now. Like the moment I said it, I thought that it's a mistake. Then I thought I'm still doubling up and getting the bishop. So I don't know if it's a mistake.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So now generally when you come up with this move, you start calculating with that because it just makes your job easier, right? Like in positions, you generally look for checks, captures, and like that, but you don't have time to pick which one comes first. So basically you start with your intuitive move first.
Okay. So Queen e7, and then Vaibhav, can you calculate?
I think bishop captures on e, then
Yeah.
maybe, and rook captures, and now I don't think that. So he should either castle or to make the king safe, or he can go king e2. That is one defense to save the piece, but e7 or f2, either ways.
Yeah, I like this square more because it's out from
it's
the
away from that line.
pin, and bishop can move next move if required.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now queen, I would go queen e4. He might bring a rook to e file again, like either of the rooks. Bishop f4, threatening to come.
G4, you mean? Yeah.
Sorry, g4. I think now his king can just go to f1. Yeah.
Probably G1.
G1, yeah.
G1. Sorry, yeah. If G1, then bishop G3.
F3.
No, it does. Bishop it doesn't.
Or H3, you want to say?
Actually, I wanted to say H3,
but this is controlled.
Yeah, H3 doesn't make sense. Yeah. So I don't know if this would make sense anymore.
Okay. So
yeah. So the intuitive move kind of backfired. Let's say. At least you made sure you found a move and you eliminated it without going too much in depth. And now you have to maybe settle down on other moves. And now you actually realize your rook is attacked. So most of the time you can, with reflexes, you can try to move the rook or avoid him attacking your rook. So in this puzzle, maybe you ignore the threat for a second. And so how can you make sure that your rook is not attacked or something? What are the moves which prevents the bishop attacking the rook?
So what I understand from what Cemil is teaching is that the basic concept of calculation is that you see a position and you look at the candidate moves. Like for example here, if I was, until now what I was saying is Queen e7, you look at bd7, maybe c6 move comes to mind, maybe rook into e3 comes to mind, maybe bishop into c3. All these moves come in your head and you start seeing which are the appropriate candidate moves, and then you start analyzing them. But what Cemil suggests today is that the first move that comes to your head, you analyze it at least to some depth, maybe not excessively, but
Yeah.
or maybe complete depth. I don't know.
And also, yeah, and also think about it this way: in chess, you don't have unlimited time, which is the hardest part of it. Like, you were playing 30 minutes against Robert Hess, 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
And you guys almost went down to 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Of course, they were joking around and stuff, but you had to ask for more time because you have to like discuss amongst each other which move to play and so on, and then your time keeps on ticking down. So this method kind of prepares your intuition to be to a certain level where you can actually rely on your, we call it your hand. Basically your hand makes the move rather than your brain even connecting with the chessboard, and this becomes very important when you are very low on time. So this will make it a little bit faster to make decisions. Like when you're playing 5 minutes, especially, you don't have 5 minutes to come up with one move because you will lose on time, and that's not what you want. So I am trying to maybe improve your intuition, which is a part of calculation or decision making, I should say.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
By the way, just my chess struggle sent a super chat saying, "Hi Sagar, Thipesh here. You might be an IM when it comes to title, but you are more than a GM when it comes to the way you explain games." Thank you, Thipesh. Very kind of you. Okay. So, Vaibhav, what are the other moves that come to your mind?
I was just trying to consider bishop e4 because bringing back the bishop to d7, I'm not a big fan right now. That seems the only way to, like, avoid getting the rook captured. I think because the rook can't go to anywhere. It can go to e4, but I don't like that square right now because then again, bishop goes to c3, d3 and attacks it. But bishop going to d7 is the only way I feel. But then after the exchanges, it's just that the opponent, it's just almost the same position with the bishop's exchange, but with the opponent to move. So I don't like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually thinking bishop. That's why I started thinking bishop e4. But I don't see how that would help because then blocks the only file I have. He'll just move the rook and then there's nothing to do.
Also, he can take this rook, and then you take the rook, and then he can come out with his bishop. And then perhaps nothing much changed. He could long castle.
So I have one question for you. Maybe this will make it easier. So let's say your rook was not hanging, but it was white to play. What do you think would white play? What is his objective or goal? Next move. And we are almost sure that he doesn't have a threat besides bishop attacking the rook.
I don't think there's much. I think I would have rather castled if I was white in this position. Okay. If I wasn't to capture the rook.
Exactly. So his main threat, which is actually not a threat, but his main idea is to castle, ignoring the rook. So this kind of brings us to a situation where we need to hurry up. Like if you move the rook somewhere, e7, e4, f8, doesn't matter. He's going to castle, and the only open file we have right now is going to be gone. And this is pretty much what we can call maybe like dynamic position. So you have to kind of feel that your opponent wants to run away, so you should not give the move to him. You want to attack him and harass him as much as possible before even he can get to castle. Is there a move which you can attack something?
So yeah, now I'm considering rook captures on e3. If rook captures, queen captures, then bishop comes to d3, and
What bishop comes to?
Sorry, bishop comes to d7. Sorry.
Yeah, but now you don't need to block this, yeah, because you already gave up your rook.
Yeah, no, I was wanting to remove it so that I can bring the other rook, and because the queen and king are on the same file, I was trying to find a way to get that done. Mm,
Welcome Ayushi to the chat. Ayushi says, I saw what both Sagar and
okay,
Vidit did with the
capture.
sketch. I don't know what to say except thank you. There's nothing to worry. I'm recovering well. Just need some time before I can be back regularly. Fantastic, Ayushi. Welcome back. Very nice to see you. Always.
Okay, so if rook captures, queen captures, then how can I? What are my check captures in the chats? Okay, I can push C and then captures and captures and captures. Mm, I can't find any. I don't find a very good move, but I do find. I think I find a move where I might be in a decent position.
Okay.
Where I think I don't know. Capturing. I'm still in exchange down. Okay. Mm,
Okay. Maybe Jamil, you can explain your method and then Vaibhav can try on another position again.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. So, I mean, that's basically it. His intuition was queen e7, and the solution will not be queen e7. So, at this time, at the starters, you are not going to be really trusting your intuition. So, you should always keep on working on it. But when you see more positions, you will realize that um, you will get a feel for it. In one
I think it.
position, it will of course not change much, but
Mm,
when you ask like a grandmaster, how did you know this is the right move, and he's like, I know it. And that's a very typical answer. They just literally look at the position and be like, oh, in this position that's the move. And it doesn't come from like suddenly. They have been practicing so many years that they got used to the ideas. So in this position you really don't want your opponent to castle. So with reflexes, sacrificing is natural, but if you look one extra move, you cannot really stop him from castling next move. Since you cannot stop him castling next move, you need to do something like without giving away too much, but also keeping his king in the middle, which can be like attacking some pieces instead of
mm.
capturing them.
Okay. So how do you? But
Uh,
why do you weigh over here that stopping him from castling is more important than even going down? Like, I think I see a line where I like capturing the bishop, like going an exchange down. I like the line because it gives me a lot of play, but I'm not sure if that weighs over stopping the opponent from castling.
So, what is the priority in the game of chess? King, right?
Mm.
And non-castle king is generally very weak, especially on an open file like this. It is very brutal to keep the king like this against the opponent's rook. That it comes number one priority, and secondly, it's more like winning material rather than losing material. In most of the cases, when you're up material or pieces, it is easier to win. Maybe you have experienced it in your own games. So instead of giving up the exchange and getting like compensation, like getting some play, ideally we would like to win pieces. So that's why we would like to attack them. And you realize that the bishop on e3 is weak. That's why you suggested queen e7. Your first move, your instinct was to attack this bishop from the front. And general tip, maybe it doesn't apply for everything, is that if you're going to make a battery like this on the same file with rook and queen, you would like to have the queen in the second row, either behind or from the diagonal, somewhere that queen is not the main piece which is going to the wall. So can you attack the bishop from the side maybe instead of from the front? Side, diagonal, I don't know, anything, but the rook should be the main um, machine.
Guys, I think we should do Jamil OP in the chat, because the way he explained this was so nice, so nice. I don't know, Vaibhav may or may
No, I
not find the move here, but the way in which he explained the concept of why keeping the king in the center, not letting him castle, at the same time, you know how he can attack e3 once more. Fantastic. I enjoyed it and learnt a lot.
I
So
mean,
you're
it
saying,
might be a bit boring, but I am trying.
No, no,
oh,
no,
not at all,
absolutely
not at
not.
all.
Absolutely
Are
not.
you saying there is I should try and find a way to attack the bishop from a diagonal rather than?
Diagonal. Yeah.
Hmm.
So when you also think about diagonals, they have like one end and there's two ends. So what are the two diagonals you see which are crossing the E3 diagonal? This is always the same in chess, by the way. There will almost always be two diagonals unless they're at the edge of the board. So
Oh,
I think he got it now.
Yeah,
now I'm thinking G5.
this side.
Uh,
Okay, he look.
That's one diagonal, yes, but it's not really preventing him from castling. Why? Because G5 doesn't
yeah,
really attack much.
yeah, he can just castle still. If
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking going on this diagonal is not.
Which is the other diagonal?
Vaibhav,
The other diagonal.
थोड़ा दे दो, sacrifice कर दो to get to the other diagonal.
How do I? Okay, on this diagonal, on the diagonal of G1, F2,
Yeah.
E3, that diagonal, if I have to get, okay, if I don't understand. If I just put my bishop there, it makes no sense because the queen can capture.
Even the pawn can take it.
Yeah.
और कौन सा piece है? Which other piece can come on this diagonal apart from this bishop?
Queen can, but how?
How?
Like, there's no
Exactly,
way to get
how?
the
It's
queen.
just two moves.
How?
Two moves.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so fine. But then the rook gets attacked twice if I push C. If I push C3, C6, he captures with the pawn. I capture with the pawn.
No. Why? See, this is one thing which you need to improve, Vaibhav. Which is like opponent takes, you don't have to recapture. Even the last position, when he took your rook, you are like, I have to take the rook. You remember here. Where is that position of Priyadarshan? Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
the capturing is not full.
I just overwrote it, but he took your
I
rook
get it right.
and you took back immediately. Yeah, so instant reaction is always to take back.
That's why you need to fix the intuition so that you don't automatically do a move by mistake.
I think that makes sense. What you said, that if I just do it over a time, just see if my first intuition move was right or wrong. That makes sense. Okay, so right now, Queen B6.
Very good. With a double attack.
Right. So again, his only option is he
Yeah, the
loses a
game is
piece.
pretty much
No matter
over
what.
now.
He loses a piece no matter what, I think.
And that's why my intuition was C6, for example. I immediately checked this move and confirmed it, and that was it. Immediately. So I don't, if I would see this in a 10-second game, I would play C6, Queen B6. Like when you play Robert, he didn't have that much time to judge what to do, why to do, and all that. He plays whatever comes to his hand.
Right.
And that comes with experience, but I think this helped me a lot because one of the things I'm very well known is that I don't spend time at chessboard.
Okay.
I generally go walk around. Like I am like Nihal, but I'm older.
And you are from Turkey, okay? So and okay, so
is it solved? Like that's it? Like is this the solution for the position?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the solution. I mean, you can
you're winning a piece no matter what.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, it's okay.
Yeah, I was thinking, Jamil, what if CB7? Maybe this makes some sense.
Yeah, here I was thinking rook takes E3.
Queen captures.
You can't take because queen takes. I say move here, then queen into B5 comes with a check. Maybe king D1.
Yeah, now maybe rook b8.
Yeah, just I think it's just
Or queen b7 actually, easier. Queen b7 is easier, attacking h1.
okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Hmm.
I think it's winning.
Hmm.
Because that pawn is dangerous, so it's better to get rid of it as fast as possible.
Yeah,
I have a feeling the fact that I wasn't thinking of not capturing over here. Every time I thought of pushing c6, I immediately shut down all the future calculations regarding c6 because I thought bishop comes on c6 and then it attacks two of my rooks.
very
So
nice.
there's no point doing that. So I have a feeling like I don't know. This just comes with time, maybe. I mean, just the more I don't know if I can develop it. Next time, be conscious of this.
Yes.
I have a feeling it's just I have to play enough so that to
No,
see
I think
where I go.
Vaibhav, one of the things which now we have identified is that whenever you attack, whenever something captures, your first instinct is always to capture back.
Hmm.
And if you can always look at that in a little more slow, like whenever someone takes, don't just think you have to take back because you can do something else. I think that awareness can help you to fix this problem.
Right, the learning that next time if something is being captured, it's not the first instinct should not be to capture back,
Yes.
but can I go forward from there?
Yeah,
Right.
something else, just to check the options basically.
Right.
Okay, let's try a simpler position. This one was pretty complex in nature because there are a lot of pieces. So I'll try another position and let's see if Cemil's what he has just taught right now, intuition works. So everyone out there, try to think. It's a simpler one than before. This is again we are taking
Let's hope.
few of Tal's positions here. So white to move here. I'll flip the board. It's white to move.
Okay, I have an intuition move.
Okay, Vaibhav, what's your
Yeah,
first?
we have to do the intuition
You
thing.
have to
Yeah,
do it
Samay.
in 10 seconds. Yeah, that's how today is about.
Mm, I don't have an intuition.
No, come on.
I had a horrible intuitive move actually.
What is it?
Go ahead, it might be correct.
Okay, maybe I was actually the first thing I thought was rook captures on. This is the only move that I had
Which
thought.
one?
Rook captures on f6, but that makes no sense.
Vaibhav, why I'm laughing.
Why? That's the right move, isn't it?
Why does it not make sense?
I don't know. I mean, I
It's
thought
such
that.
an excellent move.
Okay.
It's calculate now. Calculate. So the thing
I'll be
with
honest. Like my absolute first amongst my first instinct was I can see the fork happening in two squares. So I was like, I want to take the knight to the forking square. So I was like,
Oh yeah, this
capture the
happens
knight.
within 10 seconds. Yeah, this
I
happens
was
within
capturing
10
with the
seconds.
knight, and then I immediately saw that that makes no sense. And then I have another piece I can do that. So yeah.
Yeah,
hey, but this is
that's
like
exactly what we
you're
want to
thinking
do.
like Cemil, the way Cemil thought here.
But yeah, that was my second instinct. Sorry. Yeah, my first
No,
was
but like
knight
knight
captures, which
f6
is even
coming
horrible.
first is normal. Like you should be recognizing that pawn takes within a second, so you immediately change your move. It doesn't have to be like literally the first one, but it's more like potential candidate rather than move which is hanging a piece for this position. So yeah, maybe two lines of calculation after rook f6, and you are correct after that.
Yeah, so my first instinct was knight captures on f6, which was definitely horrible. So I think my second instinct did work out.
But you
I'm
you
glad.
changed your first instinct to second instinct very quickly, right? Like it was not like you went knight f6, gf6, rook f6, then you stopped here, you thought. No, you
Right.
were like, okay, this doesn't seem right after he takes the knight, so and you took. So I guess it's good enough. Eh,
Yeah.
Actually, what
I mean, it took you less than 5 seconds to decide, so it's fine.
Yeah.
and you won 2 pawns. That's really nice. Shall we
And
do
one more.
one more before we end today's stream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember seeing in one of the St. Louis videos, I think, this idea, and I remember using it with my brother, discussing it with him how it helps. That just if you had if there was any position, the person said if you had a magic wand and you could do anything on the board. What is it that you would like to do? And then the person says, I wish my queen was here or my rook was here or whatever. And then they're like, okay, fine. So now try and find a move to make that happen. And that's the way they wanted to take it forward. And I was like, this is not bad actually, pretty interesting, on a very
You should have
basic.
done that in the previous one. You should have been like, "Oh, I wish my queen was on b6."
Yeah, that's what so now I've started thinking this way, that what is the magic that I want over here? And then I start thinking that, can I do it? But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the middle ground between magic and candidate moves and intuition. Now I have a third one. First, I was confused between two, but I'm glad I have a third one to now find out.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
believe that Cemil's technique
It's pretty nice.
is very very useful for players who already have a developed sense of intuition, and
Yeah.
if someone like Vaibhav who is developing his intuition, I think it would help if a experienced player like Cemil is around to correct his intuition all the time. Like if someone, because if a player who hasn't developed his intuition keeps doing this, it's quite possible that he may get demotivated after a point. But if someone is there to guide him, I think it can be very very useful. What do you
I
think,
think
Jamil?
you said it wonderful. I mean, maybe that's why I figured it out when I was like already an IAM trying to become a GM.
Yes.
It was much later in my career that I found out this method. So I think you said it very well. Somebody has to kind of correct your initial thought process
Yeah.
because when you are like already a titled player, you eliminate many things very, very quickly, like without even looking at them. So there is already a filter in your mind and you put an extra filter we should maybe put.
Yes.
Okay, I have a move here, but it's actually a tough position.
Okay, Vaibhav, your move here.
My first, okay, I'm just going to tell the absolute first thought that I started thinking, and then I stopped after a couple of lines. I couldn't find more. Is rook to d7. If bishop captures, queen captures, king goes to f1, f8, and then I could not find the continuation. But now I'm thinking about that. If there is anything I can do about it,
Not bad.
I can give another
Not
check.
bad.
It's actually nice because we share the same intuition, but I changed mine very quickly, just like the previous puzzle you did.
Did you change it entirely, or did you change an order? Oh, sorry. I thought you were like, oh, I lost your voice for a bit. So I thought, okay.
Ah, am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you say, Jamil? That after rook d7.
It's actually funny that we share the same intuition, but I changed mine a little faster because I saw the same line and I was like, maybe it's not right, but I didn't go that deep. So we're on pretty much the same track in this
Fantastic,
position.
fantastic. So Jamil, Vaibhav, what Jamil did was he looked at rook d7, which was also his first instinct. He took queen takes and maybe king f8, and he saw nothing much happening very quickly, which is, I think, what I had mentioned yesterday. Strong players know when to give up lines very quickly. Like weak players are always thinking, can I bring the rook up from here, then attack here? Does that work? But strong players know it won't be enough time to do that. So I think he changed his move. Instead of rook d7, he thought of something else very quickly. Digant Patil, can you suggest a book from which I can get positions to practice such long calculations? Digant, this is the one that I recommend. The Woodpecker Method. I'm using it right now. It's a position. It's a book where you have easy positions, also tough ones, and it's very rare to get this mixture of easy and tough. Either you have tough ones, either you have easy ones. So I think it's a good book. If you are looking for very tough ones, like what I treated Nihal yesterday with, then there's one book called Recognizing Your Opponent's Resources by Mark Dvoretsky. That's pretty tough over there. Okay, so Shreyas Sanil says Jamil is a perfect addition to the chess class series. Hope to see more of him in the future too. Absolutely, absolutely. Jamil is a gem.
Thank you.
Okay. So, any other moves that come to mind?
Yeah, I was trying to think rook b3, but doesn't make sense, I think. Rook b3, queen c7.
Yeah.
Mm, I can give a check. He just pushes the pawn. What do I get out of it? Um. Oh, no. Okay. Ah. I like e5 somehow, but I don't know if that gives enough time for black to solve things.
So I think what Vaibhav went first was with rook d7. He saw that that was not working. Then he went with rook b3 with the point being that he wants to attack the queen. But then he saw queen c7 and he saw nothing much happening here as all the important squares are covered. And then he hit upon this move e5. I, Jamil, don't you think Vaibhav is doing exceedingly well today?
This is amazing because I literally calculated same move, same order, just faster, but amazing job. Like my conclusion was maybe this move, and of course faster, but same conclusion. So yeah, impressive,
Too good.
very nice.
Vaibhav, this is not to flatter you, but I think today you are in tremendous form. Tremendous.
But even if so, now if I do this, I did this with the intention that if he captures, I get a place to check the king again,
Absolutely.
right? But if he does not capture, now I won't consider that. If he does not capture, just goes to king. Oh no, he has to.
Well,
I
if he
think.
doesn't capture, you will capture and get this king out in the open, which will be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's also very tough to suggest a move. Like
That's what I'm thinking. Like this.
black can't develop his pieces.
Yeah.
It's very hard to make a move, and that's the problem.
Wow, I think e5. Once you see it, you understand how strong it is. But there are so many moves to distract you, like rook d7, rook b3, that it's very difficult to hit upon this move quickly. E5. I'll just check if this is the right answer and show to make sure that we got it right. This was the game. What was the game?
It's actually very similar to the first example when you think you in that
Yeah.
one played
Trying to find.
c6 and queen b6. Now we played e5, distracting another pawn to open up a different diagonal. And
Actually, yeah.
remember also the point where I said the queen should generally be from the side
Right.
supporting the rook, and we are just getting queen out of the way so the two rooks can work on the open d file.
That's exactly actually why I thought of e5. The first moment I thought that is there any diagonal that I can attack the king with? So I wanted to go to b4 and it did not work out. Now I was trying to see if there's a way I can get g5.
Excellent.
You know what is written
And
in the answer? It's the game Mikhail Tal versus Svend Haman, and it says e5 exclamation mark and says white lands first before black can put a pawn on e5. So if it was black to move here, black would have loved to put his pawn on e5 and then develop his bishop out and connect his rooks. And he says after e5 it's over, the dark squares are too weak, no variations needed. That's how the explanation is in the book. No variations required. These are all just too weak in the position, all the dark squares. And well, Tal is of course going to win such games.
I really have to figure out how you so quickly see all the whole idea. Do you consciously think during a game what weak squares are? Is there a moving forward to do something? Do you consciously think, okay, so now I see 5 weak squares or 3 weak squares and I should make use of it some way?
Yeah.
Do you do that? Because I think I have never done it abhi tak. Like right now you pointed out 4 of them, even Like it doesn't even come into my head what weak square is. I just think, where should I put a piece? What can I do next? So that's it. But I don't know how to include the idea
You know,
weak square calculus.
identifying weakness is an intuitive process. Like some players do it after a lot of practice. I know that this square is weak because my pieces are looking there and it is not defended by a pawn. At the same time, I also start sensing this as a weakness. At first you won't see it because no one is attacking it, but once you attack it, there's no pawn to defend it, so you start feeling that even that can become a weakness. So
Hmm.
in a way, whenever you can attack some pawn or a piece in a position which is insufficiently a pawn, piece, or a square, also, weaknesses are often empty squares. Like even this one, you see, this could become a very weak square because no pawn is guarding it at that point. So in this position, all pawns are on light squares. So the dark squares are naturally going to be weak because light square pawns always cover light squares in a position. And this
So
is the only guy which is covering dark squares in the position. So you kind of open it up over there.
say for example, you figured this out that okay, so this creates a lot of dark square weaknesses. Now what does that help you understand in the game? Like in this position, obviously there's a clear move ahead, but in a position where it's not like the king is getting mated or there's a mating net after, do you think once you figured out that
Yeah.
there are like four weaknesses in the position, four weak squares, do you do something about
So
it?
let
Like,
let me give you an example just from my play. Once I think I can maybe explain this better with one game. It was a rapid game, and my opponent was Ketan Boricha. Yeah, maybe here this one. I don't know which one it was. Maybe this one. Yeah, this is the one. So I'm white, and I play this simple English or maybe some kind of a semi Tarash, and we reach a position like this. Okay, and
hmm,
now I ask you, what do you see are the weaknesses in black's camp in this position?
okay, G G7 is the worst I feel right now, but G7, B7.
And see, you are always looking at pawns because for
Yeah,
you a
like
weakness is always pawns or pieces, but it could also be squares which are empty.
okay,
So here g7 could be weak but very difficult to attack it. Like you, the moment, how do you get to, so a weakness is
yeah,
not a weakness if you can't attack it.
okay. So I feel even the C5 square is no, right now it's been like that. I don't know. Hmm,
So this square where the queen is a weak square because the
right,
queen
yeah,
cannot be easily removed from there.
right.
Similarly, I get a feeling that all these dark squares are weak in the position because it's not easy to control them, and he's lost the dark squared bishop in the position.
Okay, I have two questions. First is why can't knight C8 simply removes the queen, right?
Yes. But then you can
So
you can move back. Like for example, let's say queen a3, maybe
yeah,
keeping him from castling. And secondly,
okay.
maybe the bishop will then come to f4, again start looking at these weak squares. Rook may come to d1, start looking here.
But okay, so now that you know that all the dark squares are weak because the person gave up the dark squared bishop, how do you push that for advantage over here?
So
Like, what do you
here's
start?
a question to you. Queen e7. Now I
Mhm.
took, and now it's your move. How do you make, now that you know the dark squares are weak in the position? How do you take advantage of that? And it's an art. It's not a science because there is no written way. Oh, this is the way you must take advantage. You have to be a little bit artistic in the way that, oh, should I place, where should this bishop go to? Should it go somewhere else?
My first instinct was a little lame. going to g5 because he just pushes f5, f6, and then that's it. I have to push back the bishop.
Yeah, you wanted to go here, g5.
I want to go to e. Yeah, but I want to go e3 maybe. E3 is decent because e3 he removes the knight, and then I can go rook d1 and avoid him from castling, stop him from castling for a bit. He goes rook d8 and something like that.
In general, whatever you said makes complete sense, but then there are some practical moves like bishop e3 is always met with move like knight c4, hitting the bishop and the pawn. So first move that I make is b3, and I dominate this knight, and you will see how this bishop actually, if you go into the game, because the dark squares are weak, he doesn't have a bishop and his pawns are on light squares. Even if in this very position his pawns were like on a7 and b6, those dark squares would have been less weak. But because his pawns are also on light squares, these are all very dark, very weak, the dark squares, and you will see how this goes a long term problem. For now, you see the knight suddenly starts to jump into these dark squares which cannot be controlled.
In the game, did you think that now I have
Yes,
he has dark square weaknesses?
yes, absolutely.
So maybe I should use this.
Absolutely. This is what I did. That's why the moment I won a bishop here, I'm like dark squares are weak.
Okay.
And then I make, even exchanging the queens is not a very easy decision here because you may want to. But then I realized that actually it helps me to take advantage of the dark squares even better. And then knight jumped here. Now look, again dark square, bishop sits there, and I take control of the open file. This is very long term problems. He can't come here, so later on I will get the file, and the rook comes, and you see slowly and steadily I'm threatening knight takes, and then rook takes knight. So he goes knight f6, I take, and finally e5 came in. Now the bishop is attacking this, the knight is attacking here, and actually he very soon he was just lost, because after bishop c5, rook cannot move. If it goes to f7, I go rook d8, and he loses the knight. So you can see that the final blow was also on the dark squares in the position. He got completely squashed on the dark squares. I think this game requires further explanation, like in detail, but it is a good example of how a weaknesses work in positions.
I have one more question. So the moment you realize that dark square weaknesses are there, is your instinct how can I get the bishop to a diagonal which controls more dark squares? How can I get a piece which controls more of those dark squares?
Absolutely.
That's the
Absolutely.
And is that when you don't have an active move right away and you're thinking of developing the bishop? So maybe develop it to a square which controls the most number of squares, something like that.
Yes.
Or is it? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So this is absolutely right what you said. And if you look at here, my instinct was, can I put my bishop on one of these squares? And then I thought, but knight here, let's stop it first and give myself an additional option, maybe to also put the bishop here. And then, as the game goes on, you keep changing your plans. It's never like everything is fixed. But just to make this point very clear, although we are running out of time, but just to make this very, very clear, this was my today morning's game before we started the stream. Can you find a weakness in the position in black's camp and try to take advantage of it? While Vaibhav is thinking, Cemil, there is a question for you by My Chess Struggle, who says, hi Cemil, how many books you read before you got your GM title? Just a curious question to know how many books usually some title players read before they become one.
That's a good question. I mean, I have a big library at home back in Ankara, which has maybe more than thousands of books. I did not read all those books probably, but I have skimmed through at least hundreds of books. And sometimes I would pick up a book, just read it as fast as I can, just to see like positions. It doesn't really matter, but I would easily say hundreds and pushing limits to more.
Okay. Any favorite books for you?
I liked Kasparov's my great predecessors.
Okay.
This was this had a big place in me, and also Agard books, everything. So, what is a weakness you spotted?
I couldn't find a weakness right now apart from the d6 one.
How about a square instead of a pawn?
Okay, so the square d5 is a nice square for the knight, but okay. No, not really. Okay, I know. Can't really.
Well, a weakness is generally when especially if it's a square, if it's not defended by any pawns.
So not currently defended or cannot be defended very soon
But-
also.
Cannot be defended very soon and currently. So, what are some squares which are completely free and it cannot be defended?
By the way,
Like
guys,
b5.
I got
Would you
up
call b?
to just show Cemil's favorite book here. It's the My Great Predecessors. It's a series of 5 books. This is the third book. Sorry, this is the second one in this. It covers all the world champions. The first book has Tenets, Lasker, Capablanca, and Alekhine. The second book has Juve, Botvinnik, Smyslov, Tal. The third book goes on to the next set of world champions, and then like Petrosian and Spassky. And then the fourth book is all about Fischer. Fifth book is about Karpov and Korchnoi. And if you read all of these, you get such a good sound foundation of all the greats in the chess world. So My Great Predecessors by Kasparov, very good book, but also very advanced, like a lot of variations in there. So be careful when you are going to study that, not an easy book.
That's for sure.
Okay. The only point square that I could feel slightly weak is b5, but I don't know if you would consider that a weak square.
But b5 here, b5.
That is just like a6.
Yeah, it can control. So a square that can be controlled by a pawn usually is not a weakness. But if you see this square, it cannot be controlled by a pawn because both its side pawns have now advanced.
So I thought about it, but the knight is controlling that square anyway.
Absolutely. Right? So get more pieces there, and that's the reason why I played knight to e1 with the idea of playing knight c2, knight e3, and then having 3 of my pieces converge on that square. So Vaibhav, we are going to, I think weaknesses is a fascinating subject that you have touched upon. Let's discuss this in the next session because that would really be nice. And now that we know also what are the doubts in your mind, I can work on it better. Maybe tomorrow or day after we can have a look at that. But guys, a big thanks to Cemil, as always, comes up with a fresh new perspective, and that is what is, I think, very useful, and a perspective not just a random one but of a grandmaster, which is just so valuable. Cemil, thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Cemil.
thank you as well. Thank you so much.
And guys, don't forget to subscribe to his channel on YouTube and also on Instagram. I think he's put up a new video today morning, just so that you guys are aware of. Let's just check it out. Cemil, it's Cemil Jan Chess. And his recent video is speed run to 2500 with the Fred defense or the Bonk Cloud. What is Fred defense? I think Vaibhav is now going to spend his next hour, 2 hours.
No. Don't. You can watch the video. Don't attempt this. At some point of the stream, I say don't attempt this in your garden. It's basically a joke that don't try this at home. But the Fred, as you can maybe see from the picture, is e4, f5 with black, and if takes king f7.
Oh
So
my
I don't
God.
recommend this.
Oh my God. After
Maybe
after
to show
teaching us the
confused.
most intricate bits of calculation, Jamil is asking us to play.
Isn't this something like Bonk Cloud?
This is like Bonk Cloud, much worse. This is already like +3 from computer's perspective. It's completely lost. It was just for a challenge to kind of show that chess is not only openings, that you need certain rules even after you play such things. But please don't
Yeah.
attempt this. It was completely for entertainment
E-
purposes.
Especially
And
after this very serious session, please don't go and
yeah,
do this. Try to play e4, e5. Very nice opening. I like it very much from Black.
I love saying do not attempt this at home with a chess move. That is hilarious. That is so nice. Do not try this at home.
maybe I should have put this in the picture. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was not very good.
you can change the thumbnail here by saying do not try this at home at some point. But
Don't try this in your garden. It's hilarious.
but guys, please go on and check it out. There are some very nice videos there, and also I think Jamil comes live on his Twitch channel. But I guess Jamil, people
Yeah.
would soon ask you to start streaming on YouTube as well. If that is possible, would be very nice.
Yeah, there was actually a comment which I took in one of my YouTube videos, thanks to your support. So I am actually considering to switch to YouTube and maybe
Fantastic,
stream.
fantastic. Okay, so Jamil, thanks a lot. Vaibhav, thanks for joining in once again. Both of you
Thanks.
made the 49th session amazing. Tomorrow is 50th, Vaibhav. What we have to do is Vaibhav, Biswa, Samay, and me. We have to get the original
Simul?
team
Yeah,
back.
and the Simul. You play the Simul with us,
Oh
is it?
yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. But just being
yeah.
all four of us together tomorrow, I think makes sense because it's a nice moment to celebrate.
Sure.
Started on May 10th, 10th of May. No, sorry, 20th of May we began.
Sounds
Yeah.
nice.
So
Like
so it's
half
been
Egypt.
it's been 14th of June, 55 days since we are going and 50
Wow.
sessions. So very strong.
Sounds nice. I think I'll also drop them a messages on the group.
Yes,
or
I will.
something.
I will also remind them you to do it as well, and we'll see you tomorrow. Jamil, thanks a lot for joining us
Thank you
today,
so much.
and see
Thanks,
you soon.
Jamil.
Bye.
Thanks, Sagar. Bye.
Okay, guys, 10 o'clock. Yeah, just delayed it by half an hour. I'm sorry. I have some work to do. I need to rush, but two super chats. Ajay Kumar says, please make a video on using opening tools in ChessBase account in detail. I can't save my opening and drill. Thanks for continuing. Ajay Kumar, does this video actually help you if you put ChessBase account, ChessBase India here? This one here, ChessBase premium account, a powerful tool for chess improvement for less than ₹5 per day. Just check this out if you have done that already, and drop a mail to chessbaseindia@gmail if this is not covering your doubts, and I'll look into it. Sumit Jain, with it drawing by Ayushi was amazing. Have kept it at DP. Yes, absolutely. Just to show you guys what Ayushi has done. Fantastic work. This is her image that she painted. Of course, it's cut out because Instagram cuts it out, but I think on YouTube community tab, you can check it out. I think there it came as an entire image. If you go here to the community tab, yeah, this is the one. So this is the entire image made by Ayushi. Look at the detailing, very nice. The hand with the thread that Vidit wears. I think one of the most popular posts that we have ever made, 8,300 likes. Well, Ayushi is amazing, Vidit is amazing, and you guys are also amazing. So thank you all for joining in, and we will meet once again soon. A big thanks to Jamil once again. He is adding so much spice and color to our training sessions. Also to Vaibhav for waking up. And guys, tomorrow 50th session, let's all be there. And today evening, Pragnananda. Great fun. Let's meet soon. Bye bye. And like the stream, please like the stream. That would be nice.